Recently, one of the challenges I had, like a lot of people, was poor drainage in our garden. When it rained, the water just sat there. It didn't soak away, it just formed puddles and the whole area became completely saturated. Now, to make things even worse, I'd been building a big shed in the garden, and of course it's got quite a large roof, which obviously at times collects a lot of rainwater. That all then runs into the gutter, but there was just nowhere for it to go. The downpipe just ends a short distance from the fence and dumps all the water right next to the shed, creating a great big puddle. Over time, that was just going to undermine both the fence and the shed foundations. Around the same time, I also built a lean-to on the back of the house. At first, I wasn't going to bother with putting a gutter on it. I thought I'd just let the rain run off naturally. But after a few weeks, I noticed a small trench forming in the ground where the water was constantly falling when it rained and damaging the ground. Suddenly realising that I'm never going to get the grass to grow there, I added a gutter to that roof as well. The problem was, once again, there was still nowhere for the downpipe to drain to, so I needed to come up with a way to get rid of all the water from both of these roofs. When it rains heavily, there's a lot of water to deal with. As a temporary fix, I attached a black piece of hose to the downpipe to direct the water away from the lean-to and out into the middle of the garden. I did a similar thing for the shed using a long length of gutter downpipe, just as a quick workaround while I worked out the proper solution in the drier weather. I had a look online for ideas, but most suggestions didn't really suit my situation. A French drain would need somewhere for the water to run off to, which I didn't have, and it also wouldn't have the capacity to hold enough water. The other option, digging a sump and installing a pump that would pump the water somewhere else, didn't work either, because there really isn't anywhere else that I thought was suitable. So I decided to try something completely different. I thought I would create a leach field under the garden. Now, a leach field, in case you don't know, is a series of perforated pipes that take the water from the downpipes and distributes it along their length, letting it slowly leach into the ground beneath over time. I started by digging a test hole roughly in the middle of the garden. I went down 1200 millimetres just to see where the water table was. Now, at this time of the year, in March, it's usually at its highest, so it was the perfect time to check for the level. I covered the hole with a wheelbarrow so that it didn't fill up with water if it rained, and luckily for the whole week it didn't. So over a few days I kept track of how much water collected in the hole from below. It filled up naturally to about 700 millimetres, leaving 500 at the top. Then I filled it right to the top with a hose pipe and left it to see if the water drained back down. Sure enough, over a few more days without rain, it dropped back to the same level, about 700 millimetres deep. So that told me that the water table sits roughly 500 mil below ground level. So as long as I didn't dig deeper than that, the ground should stay dry. The other problem though was all the clay soil. Water just can't drain through the clay. So my next plan was to remove as much clay as I could and replace it with good soil to help with drainage. This was easier said than done. It was incredibly hard work digging through that heavy clay. To make it easier, I tried using a rotavator to break it up in layers, letting it dry overnight and then shoveled it into wheelbarrows. This made the digging easier, but still tough going, and it took ages. After I filled each wheelbarrow with clay, I marked it down with a pencil onto a pallet, just out of curiosity really, just to see how many barrow loads it would take to fill a 6-yard skip. Each skip took about 75 wheelbarrow loads, so yes, this was a serious workout. I ended up filling 4 6-yard skips with clay, and it didn't take me too long to realise that digging out the whole area to a depth of 500 millimetres was going to cost a fortune, not only in skips but also for the cost of the topsoil to replace all the clay. So instead I focused on digging a series of trenches about 500 mil deep that made up a square in the middle of the garden, and then dug another trench from there to the corner of the garden to link up with the downpipe from the shed. That way I could still improve the drainage without removing every piece of clay. Unfortunately, during the digging process we did have some rain, which of course filled the trenches. So the next day, once the rain had stopped, I used a pump to remove the standing water so I could keep working. I pumped it up across the garden onto the side path and let it run down the nearest drain. Once everything was dry, I started installing a catch basin at the bottom of the downpipe from the shed, and also did the same for the lean-to. I laid some bricks to support it and used a non-woven geotextile fabric to wrap around some large stones to sit underneath it. The fabric helps filter the water and prevent silt from clogging up the stones, which makes it more difficult for the water to run through them and drain away. I also left the option to drill a small hole in the bottom of the catch basin later on, just in case it needed to drain completely, because standing water can attract mosquitoes. Next, I connected a short pipe from the catch basin to a longer perforated pipe that runs all around the garden through the trenches. The trenches were first lined with fabric and then covered with a base layer of stones. The pipe was then covered with a filter sock and then laid on top of the stones. Then the same fabric was closed over the top, encasing the pipes and the stones in one giant sock. So the idea is simple. Water from the gutters flows into the catch basins, through the pipes and stones, and slowly seeps into the surrounding soil as it traverses the full length of the perforated pipes. The fabric prevents dirt and clay from clogging up the system, while still allowing water to pass through, which is really important for the longevity of the system. After the pipes were in place and the fabric secured, I covered everything with fresh topsoil. The first batch was a loose load of 4 tons initially, and then several bulk bags after that over a couple of weeks to replace what I'd taken out. Which brought the garden back up to the original level. Each downpipe, one from the shed and one from the lean-to, now connects to its own catch basin. Both feed into the underground pipe network that loops around the garden. Here you can see I've got solid covers on top of the catch basins just to stop the soil from falling in. Once I'd finished adding the topsoil, I replaced the lids with grills so that the rainwater can flow freely. Now when it rains, the water travels from the roofs into the gutters, down to the catch basins and through the pipes, where it is distributed evenly throughout the trenches. The slits in the pipe allow it to seep gently into the soil instead of pooling in one spot. Because I replaced the clay with soil, the surface water now drains much more efficiently. It's been a few months since I finished, and even after several heavy downpours, everything's holding up perfectly. It's made a huge difference. No more flooding, no more soggy ground. Now it's all ready for me to lay the turf, and I couldn't be happy with the result. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.